This is the 75th video of the wargaming of Wargame Design Studios American Civil War campaign known as the 7 Days, or the what the hell's the other name of it? The Peninsula campaign. And this is the second series, and in this one I'm playing the Confederates and the game's artificial intelligence is playing the Union. Let me get rid of this feedback. We are at the turn of June 28th, 1862, 6:40 a.m. and I think I'm going to call this game, the main reason being that AI is really not capable of conducting offensive operations. And I'm going to go through some things, some observations in this game. And as for the reasons we're not going to continue, and some discussions about AI. First of all, in this game, at this point, I have a fairly strong position. I have significant reserves, and AI shows very little ability to conduct an offensive. It mainly hits a couple places in the line at any one time with 1 or 2 units. They get basically massacred. Then he pulls back. And then the other units, instead of coming up in support or renewing the attack, kind of do this sideways shuffle and then move forward at 1 hex at a time. So basically, there is no ability to launch a proper attack. It's more like probing operations, and that's all AI can handle. Now, realistically, there are 2 aspects to the game. There's the attack and the defense. AI cannot handle the attack because it's not equipped to. AI cannot think. It can just react. And that's more a defensive attribute. Right now, AI probably cannot see most of my men because they're hunkered down in lower positions. Most of my front line is like that. So you can't fire at them, but you can't see them. So AI, not able to think, doesn't know what to do. Because AI only is able to react against what it can see. And if it can't see the unit, it really cannot react. That's why AI only advances 1 hex at a time when it could advance 5. It doesn't know what to do because it can't see hardly anything. And then it kind of like does some probe. It goes forward and then gets blasted, and then it goes back. It figures, well, that things didn't turn out there well, and so then it'll do a probe somewhere else. Well, I mean, that's not, probes aren't going to substitute for an attack. And an attack, you have a proper attack on a length of line, and then you have reserves to move in after the attack is successful. But AI doesn't know how to do that. AI also doesn't do any scouting. So scouting is an offensive posture or offensive action, and AI isn't equipped for that, so it can always be surprised. So it's not able to conduct an attack. And even on a defense, AI has shortcomings because sometimes it can do a really good defense, but then if something unexpected happens, AI has a real problem reacting. For instance, if there's a hidden movement and something comes out on the flank, AI can only handle what it can see. So you can deceive AI by sending units popping out somewhere, and AI will basically react to that, but that's just a feint. So you can deceive AI fairly easily. Now, although you have fog of war, a human can't be deceived that easily because they'll send out scouts, and along the main roads and even along side roads, and you'll discover a pretty accurate picture. AI won't do that, or can't do that. So the way this game is going is it's not, the tempo of it is not going to change, and it's kind of worthless to continue it because AI isn't going to win, and there aren't going to be any real attacks. There hasn't been so far, and we've played 171 turns. And if we look at the victory conditions, AI has suffered about 42,000 losses, and I've suffered about 15 or 16. And this doesn't mean much, but it's a major rebel victory. The only victory or defeat is if Richmond can be captured, which I don't think is going to be possible because I've got too many reserves now, and I'm in a strong position, and AI is unable to conduct any kind of an attack which would break the lines. So I don't know, in the future, some games I may play against myself. And it'd be like Alexander the Great playing against Napoleon. So you get an interesting game and a more realistic one, but having AI on the offensive, it's you're almost playing against General McClellan. Not even that good. So you can't put AI in an attack mode. You can in certain defense modes. Now I like games where you can maneuver on the battlefield, and I like games less where you can't. For instance, at Waterloo you really can't maneuver on the battlefield. You almost have to do a straight on attack. The same thing at the Battle of Lanay, which was a lead up to Waterloo. Your forces are deployed. You really have no latitude to maneuver on the flanks. All you can do is go straight in. In a game like that, AI can play a credible defense. And it's worthwhile to play against AI. But on a battlefield like this, where you can maneuver, AI does a poor job. And when AI played the Confederates, I was able, in this game before this one, I was able to move around AI's flank and move into Richmond by turn 70. It's now turn 171, and AI doesn't have a prayer to get into Richmond. I mean, just as a comparison. And this is a, you can maneuver on this battlefield. And on Wargame Design Studios Waterloo campaign, you can maneuver like crazy on that battlefield because it actually encompasses 4 battlefields. So your maneuver is tremendous. It encompasses Quatre Bras, Lanay, Wavre, and Waterloo. And so you can do things against AI that makes AI look ridiculous. Like I maneuvered the entire Prussian army out of their battle area to protect Quatre Bras. And so when the French eventually stumbled up there, I had the entire Prussian army deployed plus part of the British army. You can get some ridiculous situations, and people don't play these games for fantasy purposes. You want some realistic scenarios, and in certain cases you can't use AI for that. In some you can. Unfortunately, Wargame Design Studio doesn't have a tactical Battle of Gettysburg. Now, I'm currently putting SPI's TSS, Terrible Swift Sword, online, and once I do that, I'll play both sides and we'll get a decent battle. Because Gettysburg's another one where you don't have a lot of maneuverability, and it would be probably a playable game with AI playing the Union. But Wargame Design Group designed it as more of a strategic maneuver game. Now, their battles around Atlanta and Vicksburg are playable by AI because those are less maneuverable and pretty much straight on attacks. They don't do the campaigns. I wish they did. The Atlanta campaign would be real interesting, but they have all the individual Atlanta battles, and the terrain there's mountains and your flanks are pretty much protected, and woods. It's almost a straight on attack. AI, it's questionable whether they could handle the attack, but it could do a good job on the defense. So I'm going to keep playing some games with AI in defense that they're not games of maneuver. I don't like those as much because I like to maneuver. But you can't play it against AI. They just turn out like this, look ridiculous. So anyway, I am going to replace this with another AI game, and we're going to revisit Operation Typhoon, the Hitler's December 1941 offensive against Moscow. The first one I played was a disaster for various reasons, and I believe I've corrected most of those deficiencies. There's still some things I don't like about the game, but I'm playing through it. So at this point, see if I can bring this up. this? Great. File I can't get rid of. How stupid is that? You should be able to get rid of any file. So I've started the second Typhoon, and as you can see, I've played through quite a few sessions already. 35. That's 35 hours. And it's a go. AI is playing the Russians, and I'm playing the Germans. Germans have a very hard time, which is helping AI a lot. But it's playable. So I'll start, Typhoon will start replacing this one. Let's go back. Oh, I know I can't get rid of that. That's the one I'm broadcasting now. Yeah, so anyway, some of the games from now on, well, I'll probably continue to play games using AI, but it'll be in games I less like, which is okay. So I've got Typhoon, and I'm playing a second Vagram, which is turning out to be a disaster for AI. How many games of that? I'm playing Vagram 1 right now, where I'm playing the French, and AI is getting beaten that one, but not badly yet, but I think that's coming. But then I started Vagram 2, where I'm playing the Austrians and AI is playing the French, and I can't believe how inept AI is as the French. I played 5 hours of that, and AI is getting beat pretty badly. So right now I'm broadcasting 2 games, this one and Vagram 1. This one will be replaced by Typhoon, and Vagram 1, whenever that ends, I'll probably play that out. It's only 60 turns. That's another thing. This one, 400 turns is way too long. 60 turns is pretty good. So I may look for games of 60 turns to play AI, and I have a bunch of them. Like I said, there's the Atlanta battles, there's the Vicksburg, there's Hood's Tennessee campaign in 1864. So you get Spring Hill, you get Franksville, you get Nashville. Those AI can play. You get Antietam. AI can probably play the Confederates. They'd never be able to play the Union. You get Fredericksburg. AI certainly can play the Confederates. I don't mind playing the Union. But see, that's a straight up game. There's no maneuvering on the flanks. With Antietam, almost the same thing. There's Corinth, I have that. That AI can play. There's Murfreesboro. There's a bunch of them. You know, it's just you have to relegate AI to a defense and not a defensive maneuver, because it's going to get whipped. I mean, you can get your rocks off play an AI in a defensive game of maneuver because, you're going to beat AI, but I don't know how much fun that is, like hitting a cripple, with a stick. So, and I'm developing maps now for Battle of the Bulge, uh, Time of Trumpet map. And so I'm going to replay that as a board game. SPI's War in the Pacific, which I've played before, is a board game. So I'm redoing the map on that one. And what else am I working on? Oh, Waterloo. I've played that before. And I'll play that against myself. In fact, the whole campaign. So you've got Waterloo and Quatre and Lanay. Although they're two separate battles, you play them at the same time. And then you play Waterloo and Vavra at the same time with whatever units survive Quatre and Lanay. So that's like the perfect battle, and they're true tactical battles. So if this was set up for AI could play this. But there's almost no ability for wide flanking operations. It's all tactical, straight up fight. So, and they're tactical battlefields, it's not a strategic map. So you don't gain much by fog of war, because you're going to see almost everything on the battlefield. It's not like there's going to be some surprise and you're not going to be able to maneuver. You'll be in sight of the enemy almost all of the time. So there's no advantages in playing fog of war. It's almost the same thing, if you think about it, as Battle of the Bulge. I mean, the Germans have what? Maybe 4 roads they have to use. You have to use the main roads in that game. You use secondary roads, I mean, you're going to lose because you move so slow. So you're going to use the main roads. Well, you know where the Americans are going to come down those main roads, so you're going to fight them there. So there's really not much in the way of fog of war. Because there's no flanking operations in that game. It's a straight on, push through the Americans. So that can be handled by AI, but the artillery, the way the artillery is handled and sighting rules, it's really bad in that game. I mean, you're firing artillery at night. How the hell does that work? They didn't have the ability to fire artillery at night. They don't let you fly planes at night, but you can fire artillery at guys in the middle of the woods, which no one could see during the day. All of a sudden, he's a target for artillery, which is stupid. So I really liked Panzer Blitz when I was much younger. So basically, I'm going to meld that with the Time for Trumpets map. And can I call up that map? No, it's on... it's on another computer. Now, if that would work. No, because I'd have to get out of this program. So Time for Trumpets is a Battle of the Bulge. I like that too. I like to play that as the Germans. I may play that against myself. And there's another couple rules I'll incorporate. When the Germans first did their bombardment, they knocked out all the American communications. And the way well, I think the way most armies did it is, and I'll talk about the Germans because I know them better. But in Battle of the Bulge, the Germans had I forgot what I don't think they call them battalions. Each division had 3 regiments. I don't know, regiments or battalions. And so each division had 4 artillery batteries. So 3 of the batteries were 105s, and they would be assigned to each infantry battalion. So 3 105 batteries, 3 infantry battalions. The 4th battery was a 150 millimeter. That was the counter battery. So they would fire at American artillery. The other 3 batteries would support the infantry attacks. So those dedicated batteries, only in rare circumstances would they be firing at targets other than the battalion they were assigned to. Now in the American Army, they had a much more sophisticated artillery arrangement where they had time on target. So those 3 batteries that were assigned to the infantry battalions could be combined with the core battery and fired at a single target. But that was only possible if the target was spotted. Now, most of the American spotting was done by spotting aircraft. And in the Battle of the Bulge, that wasn't available for at least the first 3 or 4 days because of the weather. So all they had was artillery spotters. So the spotters, there would be like 1 spotter team for each battery. It consists of 3 men in a Jeep. 1 would be the driver, the second would be the radio man, and the third would be the spotting officer. So they were connected to their next higher headquarters, which was usually embedded with the infantry battalion. And they would be connected by wire. That's right, they laid an actual wire. And that wire would usually be no longer than 3 miles, which to me is a hell of a long way to just drop a wire. And they had to do all kinds of stuff with the wire. You know, they had to bury it sometimes. They had to put it in a ditch. They had to make sure if it went across a road that trucks wouldn't drive by and cut it. They had to loop extra strands of the wire in case it was cut and a repair team came out and could just pull the extra length over and replace a defective part. So there were a lot of things that went into laying and maintaining the wire. And that was a reliable way to communicate, because were no jamming things prevalent at the time as they are now. Now, they also had the field telephones, but they were not as reliable. In fact, sometimes they're really totally unreliable, especially in the Ardennes, because you had a lot of woods, you had mountains, you had high humidity because it was snowing half the time in the atmosphere, and radios didn't work good under those circumstances. And you can see, go read about the Red Devils, the British Airborne Division that dropped in Market Garden. Their radios didn't work worth a shit. And that would be it at the Battle of the Bulge. So there'd be like some die roll if the landlines were cut, which virtually all of them were during the bombardment. The initial German bombardment cut almost all the landlines. So you'd only have the field telephones to work with, and at best they'd be a die roll of 1 through 5. And if you were in the woods, it'd probably be a 1 through 4, or up in the mountains, a 1 through 3. And maybe if it was snowing, a 1 through 2. I don't know. I don't know. You'd probably have to think of what the die roll adjustments would be. But it'd be iffy if you could communicate. Now, in the Battle of the Bulge, for the first maybe 2-3 turns, the Americans at least for the first couple, maybe 3, they wouldn't have any communications with their artillery because all of their wire would be cut by the German bombardment. Now, that may not be true in the center of the German line, because I guess it was Manteuffel, in charge of the 5th Panzer Army, did not want a heavy preliminary bombardment because he thought it would wake up the Americans. But I guess when his troops had advanced far enough, he did have a heavy bombardment later on. So maybe the cutting of the, wires there would be later, but the Americans, because of the confusion, still wouldn't be able to react. So I don't know, this just one aspect of the battle that needs to be changed. That's why I find it harder to replay the games, War Game Design Studios, Battle of the Bulge, with AI. Now, it might be possible to play it if I played both sides, because some of the artillery spotting was ridiculous, so I could choose not to fire in the cases where it's ridiculous. I could choose to do nothing at night, and that would be accurate too, because they didn't shoot artillery off at night because they couldn't see anything. But in the game, you can shoot artillery off at night the same as you do by day. So I'd have to think about the changes I could make to play it both sides. And I might do that. I might try it. In fact, I probably will, just to see how it would work. So anyway, there are a lot of other things under consideration, but for right now, I think this one's cooked. And I don't see any point in continuing on with something that's going to get no better than it is now. For the last 20 or 30 turns, the U.S. has done virtually nothing. So we're going to replace this with Typhoon, which I am playing against AI, and we are playing Fog of War. So I can't say if I'm doing well or not. I think we're only on turn 8. Yeah, all those hours and we're on turn 8. That game takes a friggin' long time to play because they put in all of the front of Army Group Center. So anyway, that's going to replace this one, and then when I'm done with Wagram 1, we're going to replace that with Wagram 2. And then when I'm done with Wagram 2, which may not be that long, because that's a ridiculous game too, with AI playing the French, and you'll see what that means, because I played 5 hours of that. I would say by about 8 hours the game's going to be over. Because the French are going to be totally defeated. It's going to be worse than Aspern Essling, to tell you the truth. So then that one might be replaced with Battle of the Bulge, where I play both sides. And then other ones down the road are going to be Terrible Swift Sword, which I'm doing a map for that. So that's Gettysburg, tactical battlefield. Wargame Design Studios Gettysburg is actually Strategic Gettysburg. Goes all the way down to Emmetsville, for crying out loud. So the battlefield is actually a lot smaller than it should be, the actual Gettysburg battlefield. The other one is Waterloo. I'd like to start that one again. Waterloo, all 4 battles, where I'll play both sides. War in the Pacific, that one I played before, and so I'm redeveloping the map. So we'll play that one. That's down the road. And there's another one that's interesting. Let's get rid of this. Just call it up. And then I'll conclude this. So this we don't need anymore. This one is kind of interesting. I haven't played it for a while, so. Where the hell is it? Order of Battle. See if I remember how to access this stuff. I haven't played this for a long time, but this was tough. Single player. Okay, so you got, this is Europe and Asia, and you can see all the different modules here you have to buy, but I bought a bunch of them over Christmas, and they have a big sale on them during Christmas. So I got them for like $4 or $5 each. So each one's a separate module you have to buy. I think I have all of them now. So let's look at U.S. Marines. Okay, Guadalcanal. Oh shit, well. It's been so long since I played this, I forgot what to do. How do I go ahead here? Shit, I don't even know. Okay, that ain't it. Ah, shit. Let me try it once more. Oh, I know, I had to select the scenarios. So play. I'm rusty at this. Options? Nope. Shit. Well, we spend them. Okay, scenarios. Here it is. Okay, these are the campaigns. U.S. Marines. Okay, here's Guadalcanal. This is fun. I might start playing some of these online. Let's launch. Guadalcanal is really tough. You can only play it as the Americans. They don't let you play it as the Japanese. But these are real interesting. I gotta brush up on the rules here again. So I might sandwich these in. Okay, what the hell's going on here? Oh, deployment mode. Okay, how do I get the map? Right click to display. Oh, here we go. I haven't seen this one before. They redone the maps. Yeah, this is a much bigger map. I haven't seen this one before. I don't know. It looked like oh, there's the airfield. That's Henderson Field. It's a much bigger scale. So you get these requisition points. How the hell? You get a mission briefing map, but I don't understand how you progress here. Well, maybe this. Shit. I'm stuck. Well, I guess I'll give up here. I just wanted to demonstrate. But see, you're using AI here. There's no units on because I can't see the Japanese. I don't know what the hell's going on here. I'll have to read the rules or play around with this, because I don't know how to start this. It says deployment mode. Okay, but I can't. I can't select anything. I have 1069 points, but this stuff should show up. Yeah, nothing works here. Oh well. I think I'll quit this. Yeah. I like to think I quit. Options must have a close. Exit to desktop. Yeah, I do want to quit because I haven't been able to start it. Okay, so this is with Steam. And I may play some of these before I start another one if I figure out how to do the friggin' things. Guadalcanal is pretty interesting, and then there's Iwo Jima. Jesus, those are tough fights. But I'll figure out the rules, maybe play, because those probably take 2 sessions, maybe 3 at the most, to play. They're kind of interesting, you know. Play some of the Pacific battles. Okinawa, Iwo Jima, Tarawa, Guadalcanal. And then they have the early ones. You play the Japanese, like the Philippines and Malaya and Burma. So anyway, that's the plan. And so the next video will be Operation Typhoon.